Okay, so what did you all think about that? I made it last night. Actually, I made that a week ago. I made a Be Back Soon one last night, and I'll see if I use it today. I don't know. That was kind of different and new for me, so I don't know if I'm gonna want to try to do something new and different. I was able to at least set this one up. I don't want to get stuck later on trying to like do something and then set this up. You know, I'll probably just continue like playing a video if ever I have to take a break or whatever. But yeah, I did that. You like it? I like it too. I found a lo-fi song on the YouTube audio library, and allegedly those songs can't be like copyright because this is what they're used for like videos, live streams, stuff like that. Let me go back to my banners and take that off. So how is everybody doing? I hope everybody is having a good week so far. It's Wednesday. I have a banner for the date. Here we go. Let me go ahead and stop screen sharing this screen, and let's move over to the videos we're gonna watch today. Which one is it? This one? Sure? Yes? Yes. Awesome. Okay, so let's put that away so as I don't get confused. I'm glad it was soothing and relaxing. I searched for lo-fi songs, and I really like that kind of music. I listen to it on the regular, like whenever I'm doing things. It's kind of nice just to hear a beat and, you know, not like words or whatever. Because sometimes the song can be like good, it can have a good beat, melody and stuff, but sometimes the words are just kind of like, So I like to just listen to music that's just like that, you know, soothing and relaxing. Hi Preach, thank you so much for stopping by. Please remember to hit the like. And alright, so let's go ahead and start with the first video. I picked some videos for us to watch. We have 34, I think, according to this. So I want to say we had about the same amount of videos last time, so I'm assuming this live is going to be about as long. I think it was like 2 hours. Hopefully we don't have any interruptions like last time. Let me know. I do have a phone here that's playing my live, and I guess I wasn't looking at it last time. Hopefully that makes it easier. So the first video we're going to take a look at is called Controversial Shock Device Used to Modify Behavior in Massachusetts Facility. And that's going to be courtesy of Today. Let's take a look.
We're back at 8:14 now with an investigation into a residential facility in Massachusetts using a highly controversial device on people with disabilities.
Yeah, the families of those involved vigorously defend the practice, but human rights advocates passionately condemn it. And we'll bring NBC's senior investigative correspondent Cynthia McFadden in right there. Cynthia, good morning.
Good morning. Well, that's right. Currently, 55 people are attached to this device, some of them with profound autism. They're on the device 24 hours a day when they sleep, when they shower. Now, advocates say that it helps control them, that they can better control themselves so they don't harm themselves or others. I began reporting on this facility back in 2007 and wanted to know how painful the shock, the skin shock was. They hooked me up to the device, and I can tell you it hurts. It really hurts. I asked the founder, Dr. Matthew Israel, about that. He said, to work, it has to hurt. Now, the price tag is $275,000 per person per year. We're going to show you some things that you may find disturbing. Take a look.
I don't even think they use that on dogs. See, without my permission, it started playing. I always thought that those shock collars were more of a vibrational thing, kind of like how phones vibrate. What they're saying here is that it actually is a shock treatment, and that's abuse. And especially if they're doing this in like elderly homes and stuff. People need to be treated with compassion, not with aggression and violence. I'm already triggered. I'm sorry, Emmanuel. I just wanted to cover this because it just seemed like something I want to know about. If they're really doing this in healthcare facilities, we got to know. Let's go ahead and push play.
Take a look.
This is the only place in the world that uses a therapy on children with disabilities, many with severe autism, that the UN has called torture. The Judge Rotenberg Center of Canton, Massachusetts. They've been doing it for 30 years.
The abuse is happening every single day. And
Human rights lawyers.
Hi, Sarah. Thank you so much for joining us today. It is so good to see you. I miss you. We're watching a video about apparently they're using shock therapy on children in Massachusetts.
Eric Rosenthal is outraged.
People tied down, screaming, "Stop, stop, it hurts, please stop." You don't have to be a human rights lawyer to know there's something deeply wrong here.
We visited JRC just before the pandemic and saw a backpack containing a device called a Graduated Electronic Decelerator, or GED, connected to electrodes that delivers a painful skin shock designed to modify behavior. The idea, give 2-second shock so they'll stop hurting.
And these are people with special needs, everyone. Like, they could have Down syndrome, they can have all kinds of other, this isn't like mental illness, you know what I mean? Like, some people were born just, you know, with handicaps. I don't know if that's okay to say, but that's the most PC way I could think of saying it. This is really shocking and disturbing.
Themselves or others. But there have been terrible abuses, like Andre McCollins, tied to a restraint board for 7 hours and shocked 31 times for refusing to remove his coat. Several extreme cases like this became public more than a decade ago, but complaints of abuse persist. 24-year-old Rico Torres says he spent from 8 until 18 on the GED. Torres says, among other things, he was shocked for wetting the bed.
She'll, shock me if I didn't wake up, and then I'll pee the bed, and then she'll shock me again.
He worries about those who are still there.
What they're doing is just taking people that have issues and just building more.
Glenda Crook says problems at JRC are in the past.
We've changed a lot of things over the last few years.
For one, controversial founder and designer of the GED, Dr. Matthew Israel, is gone, and she is in charge.
Hi, Danielle. It is so good to see you. Thank you so much for being here.
He left in 2011. He retired, yes.
Well, he didn't just retire. He was accused of having suppressed evidence in a very serious case where the GED had, by everyone's definition, been misused.
Yes, and he retired.
Israel agreed to leave after being accused of destroying a surveillance tape of a student being shocked 77 times in just one night, after a prank caller instructed the staff to do so.
Oh my God. Did you hear that?
We made countless changes to our policies and procedures, including limitations to the GED device, a different set of training for the staff that are certified to utilize the GED device. There's a lot of changes that have been made.
You do understand that there are people who care very much about children with disabilities.
Yes.
Who,
as do we,
who hear that you're using painful skin shocks and say, what are you doing?
They've never been here. They don't know what we're about. They don't know the behaviors that our kids exhibit.
Young people like this were blurring his face at his parents' request.
She said hello. I'm Cynthia. Hi.
We'll call him Charlie. He's nonverbal, and before he arrived, he spent all day alone in a padded cell. This is JRC's video when Charlie first arrived. His therapist says after a short time on the GED,
he's what he is, a happy camper.
But Mark Pereira says the reality when he worked at JRC before its founder left was not so rosy. He says he witnessed shocks for a range of what he saw as everyday behaviors.
Rocking, spinning, running back and forth.
These aren't self-harm behaviors.
They're not hurting themselves. They're not hurting anybody.
He says he quit after 2 years because of what he saw as a...
I think it's lack of just compassion, it's lack of patience. I don't want to give them excuses, but the reality is sometimes they're overfilled, and they're short-staffed, and then they're always going to say money is an issue. Hi, Observing Stuff. Thank you so much for being here. It's so good to see you all here. We're watching some videos that I found from yesterday and today. Yeah, but there is no excuse for them to be abusing their patients. And I thought shock therapy just was done away with a long time ago. I didn't even think people were still doing that. This is really crazy to hear about it, to be spoken in like current terms. I don't think they should do that at all. I mean, I'm not obviously a healthcare professional or a mental health, expert, but abuse is wrong.
Abuse. The worst, an incident involving a girl who was nonverbal as well as deaf and blind.
They were shocking her, like there was tears coming down her eyes. Well, come to find out, she had a broken tooth. She had a broken tooth, and they're shocking her.
Because she's moaning.
Yes, because she's in pain.
One of the reasons that you wanted to come forward, you're sick. You have cancer.
Yeah. I hope I live to see the day that this place will stop using shock treatment. I'm looking for that day.
Mark Pereira passed away shortly after this interview.
This is the absent ego tank.
Alright, so that's gonna be an ad. Let me just mute it. Hi, Princess Alana. Thank you so much for being here. That's a really stressful clip to watch. I'm really sorry to be bumming you all out, but we need to know what they're doing. We can't just turn a blind eye to these situations. 1 second. Let me go ahead and bring up the volume again. If there's any issues with the audio, please let me know.
JRC told us Mark was a disgruntled employee and that if he'd seen such abuse, he was obligated to report it.
There are serious concerns about abuses in the past.
Mike Flamia has represented the JRC for 30 years.
Mistakes were made, but that happens in every treatment program in the country. You will have people say, I did not have a good experience there. They didn't treat me right.
But this isn't just like they didn't treat me right. This is tying someone down to a restraint board and shocking them 31 times. I mean, nobody could defend that, correct? You're not defending that.
The treatment for that client worked beautifully. On that day, it didn't work. And they should have, with hindsight, they should have stopped the treatment earlier that day. But the treatment, he did extremely well here.
Just before the pandemic, JRC arranged for us to talk to 30 or so parents, all of whom strongly support the use of the device. And note, a judge approved.
Restraints did not work. Medicines did not work.
Andrew is intellectually disabled, his mother says, and autistic. The GED changed him.
This treatment is just wonderful, and we love his new life.
We sat down with a lot of parents, and they said, it's helped our kid. What do you say to them?
I sympathize with them because I know how hard it can be. We know better treatment is possible. And so, what I say to those parents is, your kid deserves better.
So we spoke to numerous experts who told us there are now other treatments available for even the most extreme behavior problems that don't leave the emotional scars of this painful GED treatment. Now, JRC says that they're committed to the residents at the facility. They believe the treatment has saved lives. They point out, in fact, that in Massachusetts in 2018, a court ruled that the treatment was humane and effective in a small number of cases they have there. Now, the future of the device is in limbo. Just before the pandemic, the FDA banned the device from use at the facility, but because of the pandemic, allowed it to continue to be used. So today, it is being used. JRC last week went to a federal court, said that the FDA had overstepped and that the ban should not go into effect. The American Academy of Pediatrics and many other groups are saying, no, the ban is totally appropriate.
They just showed somebody that they claim to be like a success story. And I don't know, it was just kind of disturbing to watch them just be so proud that's what it took to get someone to, quote unquote, behave.
We wait for the court to rule. And one final thing, last night I did speak to Dr. Israel, the founder. He said that he believes that the GED and he made a contribution to mankind with the life-saving treatment. He says it is a good alternative to drugs. There's more on today.com. Back to you guys. Thanks.
Yeah, see, she was even uncomfortable saying that. She's just like, well, it's not drugging them, but still, that's still abuse. It's really heartbreaking to see that that's where we're at in society. Let me go ahead and find this clip because it was, I think, from today, so I want to say it's down here at the bottom. So just give me one moment while I locate it so that I could erase it and not show it again, because believe it or not, I get nervous being on a live stream and I fumble. Did I already erase it? Maybe I already erased it. Alright, let's start from the top. So these are going to be from yesterday. I want to say whatever time I was on last night, yesterday during the day, I went ahead and started looking for news clips. So these are going to start from probably like yesterday evening, and then I grabbed some from today. So these are all going to be current. Princess Alana says, like, hypnosis treatment, that could work. Actually, maybe I'll try to remember to put it for next time's playlist, but I saw a clip from, I think it said 4 years ago, from New York Post, and a man was hypnotizing women to sexually assault them. And I wanted to see that clip with you all, and I don't know what happened. I think I was kind of going on a trip, like adding clips for my playlist, and it slipped my mind, but I'll try to remember to find that for next time because I was interested. Alright, so the next clip that we're going to look at next is, "There's no way your own father would do something like that," and that's a quote from someone. It says, former police chief plan to, and then I think it says attack after that, and this is courtesy of WUSA 9. This story broke, I want to say 3 weeks ago, maybe a month ago. I want to say less than a month ago. And it's about this man that was caught on surveillance camera. He was, former police chief. And he was caught dumping gasoline. And I think he maybe started a fire after that. I can't remember if there was a fire after that. But it turned out he was doing that to people that he knew. So let's take a look at this clip. It's an update on that story.
Your mind doesn't let you go there. Like, no, there's no way your own father would do something like that.
Carrie Turner's father is former Laurel Police Chief David Crawford, seen here in surveillance video pouring gasoline on a home in March 2019. Police arrested the 69-year-old last month for setting 12 homes on fire. Arson, prosecutors argue, he used as revenge.
My dad and I have had a tumultuous relationship ever since, I would say, my teen years. If I wanted to do normal teen things, he would retaliate in some, usually an emotionally abusive way.
In 2007, Turner was trying to escape a violent marriage, so she willingly gave her father and stepmother shared custody of her then 5-month-old daughter. But she says her parents only victimized her again when she tried to regain custody.
Suddenly, all the crimes kicked off.
According to this lawsuit filed in Howard County Circuit Court, Turner claims she endured threats and attacks between 2008 and 2010. Gunshots in homes, gas cans in cars, anonymous letters left at work from the so-called York boys.
Instantly stopped as soon as I signed over the adoption.
An adoption, the suit alleges, was forced through Crawford's acts of, quote, terrorism and fraud.
He's in prison, so he obviously can't raise that child now. So this primarily at this point is about Mary Crawford. And we believe that Mary Crawford was enabling him, placing this child in a very, very bad situation.
My main concern is to get my daughter out of that toxic situation, to get her in a safe home.
Turner says police have now reopened her case as detectives try to link her father's arson charges to her years of threats and attacks surrounding the custody of her child.
Do you finally feel like you're being believed? Yes. The day that those 2 detectives came in my office, it was like, finally.
And you can just hear it in her voice when she said finally, after 13 years of these alleged threats and attacks, she is now getting some kind of legal advice, heading to court, trying to fight for custody for her daughter. Her lawyer says that he's filing an emergency relief to try to get this before a judge ASAP to remove that girl that they believe is in a dangerous situation inside that home with Crawford's wife. Now, Crawford, that former police chief, he's 69 years old. He is held, as we said, behind bars without bond. He was forced to resign from the Laurel Police Department back in 2010. His attorney says these charges are out of character. Adam?
It doesn't matter if they're out of character. He obviously got caught on surveillance camera, so they did bust him doing that. So it's just crazy hearing what some of these lawyers try to pull on us. But I was gonna say, observing stuff, it doesn't matter, to me what games you play. I like to just watch and then chat, and especially since we know some people in common, there's always you have a familiar quote unquote face in the chat. So I mean, my opinion, play whatever, it's all good. I like just having the TV on, and I'll be multitasking. Sometimes that's why I'm not active in the chat so much, or I don't reply right away. But I don't think you have anything to worry about observing. You're doing great on your channel. But I really wanted to quickly touch base also on that news report that we just saw, as far as the toxic family environment that's happening there. I didn't hear at any point that the grandparents of the little girl that was adopted to them were abusing her. I think most of the fear that people have is from his actions, as far as trying to commit arson on his own daughter. I mean, that's pretty crazy. She says that pretty much all her life she's been trying to tell people that he was abusive and manipulative, controlling, and things like that, and probably nobody even believed her, because the thing with toxic personalities is that they're really good at putting on a mask when they're in front of people that could hold them accountable for their actions, or might speak up to them, stand up to them, or maybe stop talking to them because they realize who they are in real life. So there really is no telling what's happening behind closed doors when it comes to the grandparents and the little girl. But if she is in danger, I hope she finds a better place. They find a better place for her, because if he was willing to do that to his own daughter, who knows what he's willing to do to his granddaughter once she starts having a mind of her own and speaking up for herself, maybe talking back whenever he's being unreasonable, things like that. I'm going to keep an eye on this case, and I'm pretty confident that I will, because I heard about it when it first happened, and then I was able to catch the update. So I'm going to be following that closely, just to see what happens with the little girl. So this next clip we're going to look at is called "While Police Investigate Death of Elijah LaFrance, Another Family Mourns Loss of Child." And this is going to be courtesy of CBS Miami. Let me put this banner up. And that's going to be an ad. Hi, Black and Bougie. How you doing? It's good to see you here.
See how easy.
Police are releasing more information in the killing of a 3-year-old boy. Elijah LaFrance was killed by someone who opened fire at his birthday party. CBS 4's Carly Barnett is gathering the new details.
The gates are closed here, but bullet holes are a grim reminder of what took place over the weekend. Police have released new details in the case of Elijah LaFrance. Meanwhile, another family is still grieving their loss in a case that is tragically similar. Bullet holes all over the front of the house, through the windows. This was the scene of a child's 4th birthday party.
Subjects armed with various semi-automatic weapons, to include rifles, arrived on the scene.
Miami-Dade police say more than 60 rounds were fired at this house at North Miami Avenue and Northeast 158th Street around 8 o'clock Saturday night. Elijah LaFrance was celebrating his upcoming 4th birthday at this Airbnb.
This was supposed to be a peaceful gathering. It wasn't anything that was broadcast on social media. It was just close family members and friends.
Detective Kevin Thule says Elijah was standing in the doorway of the house while his parents and other family picked up out front. That's when someone pulled up, firing 5 dozen shots.
My grandbaby Chastity, you got Alana, you got King Carter, you got all of these children that were killed less than a 3-year span.
Sharon Cullen's granddaughter, Chastity Saunders, was also shot and killed at a birthday party at the beginning of the year. She was 6 years old.
And it's tough. And then when Elijah died, it's like it brings back those same memories, those same feelings of hurt and anger. That, you know, another baby again, you know, 3 months later, today is the 27th, 4 months later, and then here we go again.
Cullen says they still have no arrests in her granddaughter's case and no closure.
I know what this mother and this family could possibly be experiencing. It's heartbreaking. Brings me to tears. Speechless.
She just hopes for her family and the families of these other children that someone finally decides to do the right thing.
It doesn't matter if you feel that he didn't mean to do it or he wasn't trying to do it. Still, come forward, please.
If you have information on either of these cases, you can call Crime Stoppers at 305-471-TIPS, and you can leave those tips anonymously.
I think that's the first I've heard his name be released, Elijah LaFrance, and that was going to be the shooting that happened over the weekend at the birthday party. I really hope somebody speaks up and says something, because it doesn't matter if they're gonna say that they didn't mean to like kill a child. They meant to kill someone. What did they say? Like 60 rounds or something like that was found there at the party. That's murder. They knew what they were doing. I'm gonna keep up with that story and I'll let you know of any updates. Here is an update for the Jaslyn Adams case. If you remember, she was a little girl that was gunned down while getting a meal at McDonald's with her father. They were in the drive-thru and she was murdered. This is going to be called Second Man Charged in Murder of 7-year-old Jaslyn Adams. The last time we covered this, they were questioning him, and this is an update of them charging him. And this is going to be courtesy of CBS Chicago.
This year, give more than...
That's an ad. 1 second.
Moment. Give him.
Breaking news now in the murder of 7-year-old Jaslyn Adams. Police just charged this man, 21-year-old Demond Gowdy. He and another man are now accused of shooting and killing Jaslyn while she was with her father in a car in a McDonald's drive-thru. Her father survived.
Okay, so that's that update. We'll keep an eye on that too. The next one is also a serious situation. It's called Man Accused of Raping 9 Women Arraigned on New Charges. And this is going to be courtesy of CBS Boston. And remember, it's important for us to cover these stories because there could be more victims out there.
Accused of posing as a rideshare driver and raping 9 women.
He was posing as a rideshare driver. So he wasn't even an actual rideshare driver. He was out there picking up women and assaulting them. Let's listen to that again.
Accused of posing as a rideshare driver and raping 9 women was arraigned today on new charges. Prosecutors say that Alvin Campbell attacked a woman who refused to give him her phone number. He's being held right now. While
so he was hitting on her and asked for her number, and she said no, and he attacked her.
A judge determines whether he's too dangerous to be released.
I say he's too dangerous to be released. I can't believe they're even thinking about it.
Campbell, by the way, is the brother of Boston City Councilor Andrea Campbell, who's running for mayor.
I can't believe it. I don't know. Sometimes I say I can't believe it, and then I'm like, yes, I can. It's shocking, but it's not really surprising how some of these criminals get treated. Now, this next video is not as serious, so let me go ahead and take this down and, I don't know, I guess put today's date. So there's this band that I like. They're out of Florida. They're called Red Jumpsuit Apparatus. It's rock music, and apparently one of the members of the band, I don't even think they're performing anymore. I'm not too sure if they're still together or what their status is, but they helped locate a missing person. So I wanted to add this in there because I really like this band. So I know that there's a little bit of one of their songs that gets played in here. If they try to copyright, like monetize, that's gonna be okay because I really like this band. So it's called Red Jumpsuit Apparatus Guitarist Cuts Through Noise to Help Find Missing Man in Middleburg Woods, and that's gonna be courtesy of News 4 Jax.
To get the best out of
Add 1 second, please.
the car.
You don't hear this every day. A man missing in Clay County was found thanks to a guitar player who was with a local band that's pretty well known nationwide.
Randy Winter is a member of Red Jumpsuit Apparatus. They performed on River City Live several times. Winter sprang into action when a search party was scouring the woods yesterday near his Middleburg home looking for a missing man. Sky 4 flew over the scene today near Ravines Road off County Road 218. News 4 Jax reporter Scott Johnson spoke with Winter and joins us live from Middleburg. And Scott, you've covered a lot of remarkable stories, but this one is exceptional.
This one's exceptional not only because who's involved, but because what he did to help find this man. So they're out here in the woods near the ravines, and no one can find this man. They don't know where he is. They're very worried. This man we talked to, Randy Winter, one of the best musicians you'll ever meet. And one thing he has really good, he's got great hearing. He let his ears do the tracking to help find this man. The news was out late Monday afternoon. This man, David Willard, was missing somewhere in the area around the Ravines community in Middleburg.
We were like, hey, let's go check out the property because we know it well.
That's when a man who's made sounds you might know grabbed his wife and child to help the search team, who was already using SUVs and a chopper. This is video from Sky 4.
She put the baby on the bike and I grabbed the skateboard and we went immediately down to the area where we knew the highest probability would be.
Randy Winter plays guitar for the Middleburg-based band Red Jumpsuit Apparatus. While the band has received national acclaim, Winter still lives in Middleburg.
They were on ATVs and they're pretty loud if you're on the ATV. So you have a pretty loud decibel range coming off the engine and you're not going to hear a human voice unless it's over that decibel range.
Winter, who's a sound expert after playing guitar for decades, decided to wait for the motors to pass and listened for sounds the average ear would not pick up.
I stopped them and just alerted them, hey, did you hear that? And they kind of looked at me with a little disbelief, apprehensive because time is so valuable in the search. And I pointed out, yeah, I definitely heard it. And so they kind of stopped for a second, turned off their ATVs, and the sound didn't happen again.
Do you think your expertise in audio helped you kind of know?
Absolutely, yeah, for sure. I mean, that's why I wanted to look.
And Winter's help in finding Willard is receiving a lot of praise on social media, including in our News for Clay County Facebook group. And one comment that's been posted out there from Clay County Sheriff Michelle Cook, where she posts, "Thank you, sir. We appreciate the help."
Good for him. There should be more of that happening. Alright, so next we're going to go ahead, and it looks like this is going to be something about a plot about a murder. It's called Plotting a Murder from Jail, and this is going to be courtesy of CBS 46 Atlanta.
Can you hear me now?
That's going to be another ad. 1 second.
Anyone can watch it.
Plot busted. The Forsyth County Sheriff says the scheme got started behind bars in the jail. At least 5 people were plotting to kill a man who was the victim of an armed robbery case. As CBS 46's Melissa Stern reports, they were trying to keep him from testifying.
We have an individual who is already here under an allegation and an arrest for armed robbery, made an attempt and placed a hit to commit murder against that very victim of his armed robbery.
31-year-old Kwame Abayomi was already in custody for a violent felony, an armed robbery in 2017. Police say he hatched a plan to get rid of the witness in that case.
He is the one who developed the mastermind plan to murder this armed robbery victim.
Police say they got a tip that Kwame, his cellmate, his girlfriend, and mother of his children used coded messages to hire a hitman to murder that victim.
Evidence indicates.
I don't know about you all, but I kind of want to hear those conversations because that's pretty crazy. It was coded messages.
That they were going to do this for the lowly sum of $6,000. $1,000.
Since courts have been closed due to COVID, police say Kwame came up with the plan before his day in court.
Kwame's case was the first up for consideration in Forsyth County in our Superior Court. So we knew time was of the essence, that our victim was in danger. So we contacted our victim as soon as we determined, hey, there was some validity to this.
Police say their original hitman took off with the money. The second hitman, Kwame's cellmate's brother, coordinated with the two women to carry out the murder.
I'm certain that he thought, if this person wasn't here to testify against me, maybe they couldn't continue with the prosecution.
Police say the victim did not want to be identified, but gave this statement.
When I was made aware the suspect in my robbery case wanted to have me murdered, obviously I was concerned and scared. That all seems surreal and something that you'd see in the movies. I received the news that all the people have been arrested, and it was a sigh of relief.
All 5 suspects are in Forsyth County Jail without bond and charged with conspiracy to commit murder. Melissa Stern,
That's a crazy story. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw that on the next True Crime Daily. I don't know if you all watch that, but I really like that channel here on YouTube. I'll keep up with that one, of course, to see what updates we have on it. I hope they do stay locked up. They're obviously doing the most to try to get the original aggressor, or criminal, whatever you want to call the situation, to get him out so he could continue. That's crazy. Alright, let's continue looking at my playlist. The next video is called What'll It Be? Robot bartender Barney can mix dozens of cocktails and tell bad jokes. And I picked this because sometimes actually all the time, trying to be aware of the technology that's going to be introduced that could affect us in the future. And one thing that I always thought about was how robots are replacing humans in the the job field. I don't know what the word is. What is it? Workforce? There we go. Something like that. So let's watch this video. It's from CBS Los Angeles. And that's going to be an ad. 1 second. So if you all don't know about this show, it's called Bar Rescue, and they have it on Paramount. There's a Paramount Plus app, but there's a regular Paramount app, and that one's free. And they have all the episodes of Bar Rescue if you're into it. But I really like that show. Apparently they're going to start a new season on Sunday. And what it's about is, if you're into like kitchen nightmares, it's kind of like that, in the sense that the guy comes in and starts like screaming at everybody that's like not doing a good job. And if you watch the show, it's pretty crazy to see what ends up happening, like with drinks and food, how things get mishandled, things are maintained, the servers are over pouring, the drinks are too strong or too sweet, like all this stuff. And I think to myself that maybe it would be convenient, it would be kind of cool to have a robot that serves drinks, because at least a robot will be cleaner and more accurate and won't steal from the owners and things like that. But I mean, if this escalates, if this continues, like, we're gonna get replaced by robots quickly. So that's why I added that one in there. Now this next story requires a little background, because I don't think, this is a really popular story that got around. I actually ended up finding out about this like accidentally. I think it was recommended to me, and it had already been like a few years that had passed. But this man, Jamie Osuna, is in prison for murdering a woman, and I think he stabbed her to death. It was very egregious how she ended up passing away. Well, since he's been in jail, I want to say he's murdered 2 of his cellmates. Let me find out for sure. His name is Jaime Osuna. Like, he's already in my search list. And he was found incompetent to stand trial in January of 2021. I'm not too sure. Oh, he beheaded and tortured his cellmate. So this guy is trouble all the way, and there is an update, so I wanted to go ahead and cover that. John Tapper is crazy. And it's crazy too, because I think about it, and you know how when they go do the at the very beginning when they go and they send somebody to go check it out, see how it's going or whatever, I was thinking to myself, they have to expect him coming because the cameras are already set up in the restaurant, so the owners had to have approved it. So I'm not too sure if maybe he says like, oh, I'm gonna be there next month, and then he shows up maybe like in a week, because he has to catch him off guard. He shows up and he just starts screaming at everybody for every little thing. The owners stand up to him. They get all mad too when he tries to change the name of their bar or whatever. It's a really good show. But the new season starting on Sunday, from what I understand, and I guess this season they're gonna do bars and restaurants in Las Vegas. That's where he's from, and I suppose that they suffered a lot of loss because of the pandemic and things like that, so he's gonna go rescue some bars over there. Let's watch this video about this man that I just told you about, Jaime Osuna.
Okay, team.
I don't know why all my videos are coming up with ads. If there's a way to bypass that and anybody knows, please let me know.
With an
17 Court Watch now. Convicted murderer Jamie Osuna has been transferred to the psychiatric inpatient program at Salinas Valley State Prison, where he will undergo treatment in an attempt to restore his competency. Earlier this year, Osuna was found incompetent to stand trial on murder charges in the death of his cellmate at Corcoran State Prison. A Kings County judge scheduled a hearing for July 15th to review progress reports on Osuna's first 90 days in the program. In 2019, prosecutors charged Osuna with the killing of his cellmate, Luis Romero. At the time, Osuna was serving a sentence of life without parole for the torture and murder of Bakersfield woman Yvette Pena. We took a deep dive into Jamie Osuna's life and the lives of his victims in our award-winning podcast, The Man with 1,000 Faces. You can listen to it on Apple, Spotify, and other sites. Just go to 1000facespodcast.com for more.
That's interesting. I don't know if I'll listen to a podcast though. I'm more of a video type of gal. But yeah, if I find any updates on him, I'll be on that. So let's continue on. And this next video is called It's Devastating. El Paso man charged with murder of 1-year-old baby was friend. And this is going to be courtesy of KVIA ABC 7.
The family of the 1-year-old boy who died allegedly at the hands of a babysitter tells ABC 7 they are heartbroken at their loss. 1-year-old Aaron Joshua DeHart had multiple injuries, including a skull fracture. ABC 7's Brianna Chavez joins us live. And Brianna, what do we know about the suspect?
Well, Stephanie, right now, 24-year-old Marvin Rex Lake is being held here at the county jail without bond. He was arrested last week and charged with capital murder of the death of 1-year-old Aaron. Now, Aaron's family actually spoke to me today, and they told me that Lake was a friend of the family and that they are heartbroken at the loss.
If y'all don't remember, the suspect actually went to the police station to see how he could get reimbursement over the futon that was broken while he basically killed this baby.
You never just take everything for granted and never think it happens to you or what happened to your family.
On April 12th, 1-year-old Aaron Joshua DeHart, along with 2 other kids, were being looked after by 24-year-old Marvin Rex Lake. Lawrence DeHart is Aaron's great uncle. He says his nephew Brandon trusted Lake with his child.
And everyone just assumes that they just dropped their baby off to some random person they didn't know, and it's so incorrect. Brandon was in the Army with this guy. Brandon's wife works with his fiance. They're co-workers. They trusted him.
Lake was charged with capital murder after Aaron died from several injuries, including a skull fracture. DeHart is convinced Lake is responsible.
And they had no reason to ever suspect that this man that they were comfortable with would beat their child to death.
According to police, 1-year-old Aaron was found unresponsive in an apartment here in this apartment complex in West El Paso. Lake told police that he was upset at baby Aaron for ripping a pillow. I knocked on the door of the apartment where the alleged crime took place to see if Lake's
So far he said that he was wrestling with the baby, that the baby broke the futon, and now that the baby ripped a pillow.
Fiance was home. No one answered.
These children had to hold their baby in their arms while the doctors unplugged him from everything and he took his last breath in their arms. We're all devastated. We cannot begin to even wrap our heads around this.
And Lake is due back in court in mid-May. There is a GoFundMe page to help the family with funeral expenses. We do have those details on our website.
That is terrible. You think he's shameless as hell, and you know that we're gonna keep up with that story too, because I want to say that I probably broke the news whenever, you know, it came out. So this next one is not so serious. It's more of a financial crime. So I'll put my Cash App here. It's called As Many as 15 People Suspected in Alleged EDD Crime Ring. And that's going to be courtesy of CBS Sacramento.
Who could have known that extra love?
Add 1 second.
Or the
Tonight, drugs, guns, and a massive EDD fraud ring all uncovered, police say, after a traffic stop in Roseville. Investigators say more than $2 million in unemployment claims were stolen, with at least 200 victims.
CBS 13's Renee Santos joins us live with more on this. Renee, this is a complex case.
Yeah, it's a very complicated case, but it all started with just a simple traffic stop in this area. We're just off of 65 here off Pleasant Grove Boulevard. They discovered things like EDD fraud, a drug ring, even human trafficking. Again, all of this uncovered following that traffic stop.
That is being fueled by the EDD fraud and the ease with which cash can be gotten.
Placer County District Attorney Morgan Geyer says the amount of suspected unemployment fraud discovered following a massive crime ring bust has him adding help to the cases.
It has required the allocation of resources that were going to be dedicated elsewhere. We have one full-time prosecutor assigned to EDD fraud. We have a full-time investigator assigned to EDD fraud. There is that much volume.
Back in November, Roseville police pulled over 41-year-old Bruce Anderson, now identified as the suspected ringleader, and 28-year-old Candace Carty. During the traffic stop, Roseville police say they discovered large amounts of cash, jewelry, and drugs. Further investigation led to several search warrants, where evidence of EDD fraud involving at least 200 victims was uncovered, including a suspected human trafficking ring. Investigators say the ring is suspected of successfully applying for $4.5 million in unemployment and successfully withdrawing more than $2.3 million using fraudulent cards. As much as $50,000 a day is believed to be pulled from ATMs across the region. The DA says a case like this involving multiple crimes is complicated and a first in recent history.
I can't recall a time where we've had this many different elements of sort of criminal activity surrounding this large scale of fraud.
News about a massive EDD fraud bust makes Omar Clark think about the unemployed people he knows trying to make ends meet.
It's hard for them to get anything out of the system. Some of them have to be going to food banks.
And right now, investigators have identified and are currently searching for 3 suspects, but we're told that as many as 15 could be involved.
Wow. That's crazy. That was a ton of money, drugs, there was jewelry. That was insane. Let's continue. If anybody has any questions, you know, don't be shy. I know most of us are, how do I say it, we have ways to speak beyond live stream, so I kind of expected the chat to not be so chatty, since basically we could talk whenever, and then whenever we see each other at Crown Empress too, we all chat and things like that. So if there's anybody here that's just kind of like, how come like no one's talking, it's probably because, you know, people are multitasking, it is the middle of the day. But another thing is, like, usually we kind of just hang out and watch videos together and react and things like that. So I personally don't mind, you know, showing videos and just commentating whenever, you know, I feel like it. You know, but for anybody that's not used to this, it's, you know, we're all good here, but don't be shy to ask me anything or make suggestions or whatever. So the next video we're going to look at is called Double Murder Suspect Followed Woman Home, Stabbed Victims with Sharpest Kitchen Knife He Could Find. Oh my God. So that's going to be courtesy of Fox 13 Tampa.
Listen.
And an ad, of course. 1 second. Let's see. Yeah. That's true.
This is the 19-year-old man who police say spotted two women in public, followed them home, and then killed them early Monday morning in Largo. His name is Sage Curry, and as he appeared in court today, investigators released new information about the murders, and it's the kind of thing that nightmares are made of. Fox 13's Josh Cassio is live outside the Pinellas County Jail with a lot more on what happened in this whole situation. Josh.
Yeah, Kelly, at this point, police don't believe there's any prior connection between Curry and these two victims, meaning it appears this was a completely random killing, which is really the scariest kind. So heinous. Tonight, Curry behind bars, no bond.
Just a few days ago, Ryan Timms says he ran into his neighbor, 19-year-old Sage Curry, at a nearby convenience store.
He's like, I'm your neighbor. I live a couple houses down from you. And it was him.
He now knows his seemingly friendly neighbor is considered the prime suspect in a brutal double stabbing that left two women dead early Monday morning.
Yeah, this is pretty nuts.
This was Curry appearing in court Tuesday afternoon, his right arm wrapped in bandages, injuries sustained during the alleged attack. Curry faces 2 counts of first-degree murder and armed burglary. He was denied bond.
Are you going to be able to hire an attorney to represent you in this matter, sir? I don't have any money.
Police say Curry apparently randomly targeted the two women, spotting them out in public and then following them to their home on 8th Avenue Northwest in Largo. Curry allegedly broke in through a bedroom window just before 2 in the morning. An arrest report then says he grabbed, quote, the sharpest kitchen knife he could find and stabbed both women to death. The report also says Curry tried to cover up the crime by making it look like an accident. He would then run to a neighbor's house next door due to his own injuries. Police say after being arrested, he confessed to the killings. Neighbors tell Fox 13 the crime has left them stunned.
Shock. I mean, I wouldn't expect anything like this. I mean, I've never seen anything like this happen around here before.
Now, one big question remains, why did this happen? We still don't know the motive at this point. We do know 2 relatives of Mr. Curry were in the courtroom today. We tried to ask them some questions. They did not want to speak with us. Kelly,
Josh,
back to you.
This is a very scary story. Now, the police are only saying that he saw them in public and then followed them home. Where are they saying where he saw them and what time? Or
Yeah, that's a very good question. We don't know where he spotted them. These 2 women did live near the Pinellas Trail, although we can't say that he saw them there for sure, but we do know he saw them somewhere. And as soon as we have those answers, of course, we will let you know.
That reminds me of this other story. If you have HBO Max, it's a documentary called The Cheshire Murders, and it was similar situation, as in the suspects but they saw their victims at the grocery store. It was 2 young girls. One was a minor and one was like a young adult. And he followed them home, and then I guess when he did that, he realized that they came like from a big house, so he assumed them to be wealthy. So he and another guy cased the place and ended up breaking in. They almost killed the dad. They hit him over the head with a bat, I think. He had a fractured skull. The mom, they got her and took her to the bank where they tried to make her take a deposit out of money. The people at the bank knew what was going on. She told them, but they didn't get involved. They called authorities, and then that's when they all went back to their house. And by the time the cops got there, one of the 2 girls was molested, and I want to say that they caught the house inside on fire. And there was an issue too with the police because they got there, and instead of trying to like get in the house or try to assess like what's going on, try to stop things from happening, they started putting up a perimeter. So they were basically wasting time once they got there, and they didn't help the situation. I want to say that the father survived, but we'll continue looking at this story too as soon as I can find an update. That is creepy as hell. I don't want to be followed from somewhere and then, you know, have all that. I don't even want to say it because I might accidentally manifest something. But let's continue. We got 23 more clips to go, it looks like. So the next one is called Murder Suspect Was Out on Bail for Gun Charges Before 2 Deadly Shootings. And that's going to be courtesy of KGET News.
Now, from our 17 Court Watch tonight, we are learning that a murder suspect accused of killing 2 men in January was out of jail for less than a month before those shootings happened. Carlos Trejo and Jorge Flores pleaded not guilty yesterday to killing Vladimir Sanchez on January 15th and Scotty Tripp on January 16th. That shooting happened as Trejo was out on bail for 3 gang-related and firearms charges. Police arrested Trejo and an 18-year-old on December 11th, allegedly after an unregistered gun and a gun with no serial number on it were found inside their car. According to the district attorney's office, Trejo posted bail and was released December 31st, about 2 weeks before he and Flores allegedly shot Sanchez and Tripp.
That's crazy. Let's continue on. I'll try to come back tonight. Not too sure. There is a, how do I say it, ABC News channel on YouTube. Sometimes likes to post videos, and they're like segments of like maybe 2020 or like whatever, like true crime documentaries they make. And there was one that looked interesting. I think it's called The Devil's Triangle. I want to say it's like 4 or 5 parts, so if I can make time, maybe I'll come back and maybe we'll just take a look at it. Usually though, they don't show the whole episode, obviously. It's a teaser to make you, you know, go watch their episode of it, their program of it. But I could probably try to find some articles or something in case we have any questions, if it turns out, you know, to leave us on a cliffhanger or something like that. But I'll see if I can come back tomorrow, tonight, and if not, we could do that tomorrow. The next video is crazy, and I'm just going to let you watch it, and then we'll talk about it afterwards. It's called Man Accused of Killing Teen Because of Rap Music Has Died, and that is courtesy of azfamily, powered by, and then ...
Now we have an update on a brutal and senseless crime which made national headlines.
A Valley teenager was murdered at a Circle K in Peoria, all because reportedly he was listening to some rap music. Tonight we've learned the man accused of the crime has died. Jason Berry's live tonight. So what happened, Jason?
Well, Michael Adams was supposed to go on trial next month for the murder of a Valley High School student, but that case will not be going to court because Adams was found dead in his jail cell. Today I spoke to the parents of that victim who remain heartbroken knowing the death of their son's killer will not ease their pain.
He's out of work. What's up, Yay!
He was a sweet kid with a great sense of humor and big plans for the future. 2 years after Elijah Alamin was brutally murdered at a West Valley Circle K, it's still hard for his mom and dad to move on.
No parent should ever have to feel this pain.
I miss my son on a daily basis. I think about him every single day.
The 17-year-old Apollo High School student was standing by a soda machine in the early morning hours on July 4th, 2019, when police say this man, Michael Adams, pulled out a knife, stabbed Elijah in the back, then slit the teen's throat. Adams reportedly told police he attacked the boy because...
What the fuck? See, and when I first started watching this clip, I thought they were talking about a different case, but then I realized that the original case I was thinking about did go to court, and there was a conviction. So this is a whole other story that was almost identical to the first one I heard about. When it comes to it being like at a gas station, like a corner store situation, rap music was involved. Someone died because somebody was upset that it was, you know, being played too loudly. They didn't like it. But in the first situation that I knew about, it was a shooting. So as soon as I heard that it was a stabbing and a, basically a decapitation. That was really shocking to hear about that. And then I realized too that the first case I thought about was a documentary, and that's going to be also on HBO if you want to watch it. It's called 3.5 Minutes, 9 Bullets, or 9 something. Hold on, I could find it. 3.5 Minutes, 10 Bullets, and it's a 2015 film, and that's going to be on HBO if you want to watch it. But it's a different situation, but it was a lot like this one.
Because Elijah was listening to rap music. The murder trial was set to begin next month, but that's not going to happen now, after Adams was found dead in his jail cell April 17th. The exact cause of death is under investigation.
It just immediately brought all the pain back, like a Band-Aid just ripped off a gaping wound, and it doesn't bring my son back.
Elijah's parents, Serena Ritas and Rahim Al-Amin, have struggled the past few days with how they feel about the death of their son's killer. They do not feel like justice has been served.
I don't look at it as being justice because at the end of the day, he was still human. He made a mistake, and I got to look at it like that because, you know, it was a life gone. And he has a daughter. I mean, and I know how she's probably going through. He has a father. I know what he's probably going through.
Elijah's mom and dad are relieved, however, that they won't have to go through a long, drawn-out trial and face their son's killer in court. Their focus now is having their son's legacy live on.
I can move on and look for different ways to keep my son's memory alive and do something that he wanted me to do.
All we know right now about the death of Michael Adams is that he was found unresponsive in his jail cell. It is unclear whether or not it was suicide or something else. As soon as we learn more, we'll let you know.
As soon as I find out, I'll let you know. Alright, let's continue on. Yeah, he was a psychopathic weirdo. The first guy too. I forgot his name, but if you have HBO Max, they have a documentary about that first situation, and that guy was crazy too. And at one point in the trial, he, was trying to say that the victim had a gun and that he had told his, I want to say it was his wife or maybe a fiance, that he saw them with a gun. But then they had asked her, and she said he never mentioned it to her. And then he said that, yeah, like I told her. And then they brought her back for a rebuttal, and she stayed like within her truth, and that was that he didn't tell her that he saw a gun. Did he see a gun or not? They didn't find one in that situation, so it was bullshit, obviously. Let's continue watching my playlist here, and the next video is called Texas Driver Speaks Out After Escaping from Exploding Car. And I want to say that these clips are probably going to be from maybe today, because the last one we just saw was from yesterday still. And this is going to be courtesy of Good Morning America. I'm guessing it's going to be an ad. It's taking a while. Yep, it's an ad. 1 second.
As simple as taking to the story behind the startling video we first showed you on Tuesday. Remember this car bursting into flames on a Texas highway?
That's crazy.
Oof, all caught on camera. Thankfully, no one was injured. Now the driver and passenger of that car are talking about what happened. Will Reeve has those details for us. Good morning, Will.
Hey, Robin, you see that explosion and you fear the worst. It's uniquely huge and horrifying, but the passengers are okay. They did speak to GMA because when everything went wrong, they did everything right.
This morning, 3 teenagers lucky to be alive after this explosion on a Texas highway. Watch as this video from another car shows smoke and flames billowing out the back of the vehicle. And then the blast. The car engulfed in a fireball. The explosion booming across the lanes of Highway 114 outside Dallas.
Under the car, and I saw that there was flames.
The passengers escaping just in time. One of them, 18-year-old Ethan Mata, calling 911.
Hello, 911.
Our car kind of broke down on the side of the road, and now it's smoking.
Okay, it's on East Highway 114 eastbound.
Yes, ma'am. It's on fire right now.
Before the explosion, Ethan and his friend Jose Hernandez, who was driving, could tell something was off.
I knew something was wrong, so I stopped. And then we just walked down the hill onto the other side of the road by the church. And then it blew up.
Authorities rushing to the scene where nobody was hurt. Quick thinking by the boys likely saving their lives.
Authorities praised the actions of those boys and said they did everything right. And if you find your car smoking, you want to stop, get out, get away, and call 911.
Well, hey there.
I don't know what would cause an explosion like that. That looked like something out of Hollywood. That was crazy. Alright, the next video is going to be a serious and emotional information video. Let's continue. It's called Audrey Barrows charged with killing fifth person in southern Colorado. And this is going to be courtesy of CBS Denver. And this guy has actually, it's like pretty ironic. He has the same kind of tattoos that Jaime Osuna had on his face.
Audrey Barrows now faces charges for the death of a fifth person. Police initially arrested Barrows in November for the deaths of 4 people following the discovery of skeletal remains on 2 properties outside Alamosa. The latest charges for the death of Corina Arroyo include first-degree murder, tampering with human remains, and first-degree assault. Barrows is being held at the Alamosa County Jail without bond. Jeff Petroulis for CBSN, Denver.
That's crazy. Let's continue on. Okay, so I noticed that some of the jurors are starting to come out to speak from the Derek Chauvin trial. So I found this one. I'm not sure if he's like the first or the second one. I want to say he's the latest juror to speak and break his silence about the trial. It's called Juror in Derek Chauvin Trial Break Silence, and this is going to be courtesy of Good Morning America.
Both the Slugger by Stella.
And it's an ad. 1 second.
To turn to the first television interview with one of the jurors in the Derek Chauvin trial. Brandon Mitchell was one of 12 who found Chauvin guilty on all 3 charges that led to the former police officer's conviction for the murder of George Floyd. I spoke to Brandon just moments ago. Good morning, Brandon. Thank you for your willingness to share with us what went on inside that jury room in the deliberations. Please tell us.
Well, first I want to start off by sending my condolences to the Floyd family. I haven't got a chance to do that publicly, so I want to do that first and foremost. But no, the deliberation room, it was pretty much, for the most part, it was straightforward. There were a few hiccups with, terminology and understanding exactly what the instructions were for each case. But like I said, for the most part, we got in, we got out. There wasn't too much banter back and forth.
Was there one juror, though, on one of the lesser charges that was a holdout for a while?
Yeah, so, I mean, we probably deliberated for 4 hours, and of that 4 hours, it was I guess we were going over more so the terminology that was being used and making sure that we understood exactly what was being asked. I think the one juror that was kind of, I wouldn't say slowing us down, but was being delicate with the process more so. Was just kind of hung up on a few words within the instructions, and just wanted to make sure that they got it right.
And so how were you able, and that's how you were able to convince this particular juror? Clarification on the wording?
So we just kind of went around the room. We literally broke down the sentences and broke down the words and what the meanings were. It just described it several different ways from different perspectives until we came to a common conclusion.
Brandon Mitchell, you know that there are some people who believe that the racial climate and the protests in the streets may have impacted the deliberations. Was that ever discussed, and was that an issue at all?
We weren't watching the news, so we don't know what was going on. We were really just locked in on the case. And then with so much stress coming from the case, I mean, those things are so secondary because you're literally, throughout the trial, you're watching somebody die on a daily basis. So that stress alone is enough to take your mind away from whatever's going on outside of the 4 walls of the courtroom. I mean, that wasn't even something that's in any of our minds. I don't think so.
What was the impact of that 9-minute, 29-second video, and was that the difference maker?
The video is it's a historic video, unfortunately. And then seeing the multiple angles of it from the body cams, from the other cell phones, It was probably the most important piece of evidence.
Was there any testimony? Was there one piece of testimony for you that made a difference?
Yeah, so for me, I'll say two. For sure, Donald Williams, just how he spoke about everything, and Dr. Tobin. I think once Dr. Tobin got on the stand and the way he spoke and the details that he gave and the way he gave the details, I thought that really solidified the prosecution's case.
Derek Chauvin not taking the stand, did that have an impact, not hearing from him, the former officer?
Yeah, definitely it did. When we were in the deliberation room, a few people wondered, they wanted to actually hear from him. They were curious on, just what his thoughts might have been throughout. It probably was to his detriment that he didn't take the stand, because people were curious on what his thoughts were throughout the entire incident.
It was I don't have to tell you, a very diverse jury. Everybody around you. They ranged in ages from 20 to 60, 5 men, 7 women, 4 black, 6 white, 2 self-identify as multiracial. Your experience, you believe, has shown the importance of black men to show up for jury duty. Why do you believe that?
Yeah, so in order for change to happen, we got to get us to those type of avenues, get us to those rooms. We got to show up for jury duty. We have to vote. Those are things that are important to the society as a whole. And if we want to be viewed differently in society and start to see different results, we have to start to do those things. We cannot avoid them. We can't put them on the back burner. We have to put them in the forefront. And jury duty is definitely one of those things, especially with, the insane number of black men being incarcerated. So we definitely have to get on those panels and stuff like that.
You began by giving your condolences to the George Floyd family. You haven't had a chance to speak with them. What would you want to say to them?
His name is going to live on. His legacy is now cemented in history. It's now become so much bigger than him as an individual. He's now become almost, he's become a legacy. And it's a legacy that will forever be here, and it's forever it will hopefully create some change within society. And that is huge, and that is unfortunate. It's a positive lining within a negative result as his death. But that's just me as a positive person, just kind of looking towards the bright side. Like I said, at the end of the day, they still lost a brother, a nephew, a cousin. It still was a man that lost his life. But his name will live on, and what his name means now is so much more than what they probably imagined. It's literally cemented in history.
Oh, well, Brandon Mitchell, thank you very much for your time this morning, and thank you for fulfilling your civic duty.
What I was going to say is I think probably being on the jury is more effective than voting. I don't have much faith in voting. That's just my opinion. If you rock the vote, that's cool. But for me, I don't know about all that. What I wanted to say also real quick is there was an update about the Derek Chauvin situation. His sentencing was pushed back to June 25th. I just looked it up. And the reasoning for that is scheduling conflicts. So that's kind of weird. As far as, covering the George Floyd situation, I feel like I want to see it through. We, invested a lot of time keeping up with it. To me, with a lot of the situations that's going on right now when it comes to shootings and officer-involved situations, I think I prefer to maybe update what they're saying so we could, scrutinize it and criticize it and things like that, comment about it. But I think that I would prefer to give the bulk of information if it goes to trial, or go through the bulk of the information at that point, because at least it's a trial and it's not being convoluted with rumors and impressions and things like that. Because even with the George Floyd situation, when it first happened, I was one of the ones that said that it wasn't real, that he was an actor. I even at one point was like, it's a mannequin, it's not a real person, all this stuff. But after seeing more of the information come out, I even saw a news clip but I wasn't too sure how everybody felt about still talking about George Floyd, so I didn't add it. But it was some of the employees that worked at the nightclub that Derek Chauvin and George Floyd both worked at, and they said that George Floyd was a very kind person, and he was friendly, he was like laughing, he would make people smile. As soon as people saw him, they were happy to see him. And then with Derek Chauvin, he was more closed off. They said that, and I don't think that they were just saying that because, you know, of everything that's happened since then. I really felt like all that was true. You know, so until somebody can like produce a picture of, you know, Derek Chauvin and George Floyd and Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell at an island, you know, kicking back, drinking margaritas, then I'm gonna assume that whatever they're presenting us is maybe not a fact, especially since fake news is like a real thing, but I mean, at least keep an open mind to it and put it under scrutiny and use your own bullshit detector to see how you feel about the situation. And with this, I feel like George Floyd was a real person, but because of the social climate when it comes to officer-involved shootings, it was just blown up so much by the media that a lot of people just kind of just wanted to tune it out because of everything that was going on with the riots and stuff. So if I ever see any updates, I'll go ahead and present them so we can talk about it. So we still got a few videos to go. The next one is 2 inmates escape from Lerdo jail, and that's going to be courtesy of 23 ABC News. It's going to be another ad watch. Yep. But it's StreamYards. I kind of support StreamYards.
All right, thank you, Robert. We're continuing to follow breaking news this morning in the search for 2 escaped murder suspects who got out of Lerdo overnight. 23 ABC's Callan Hammond joining us live with what we know so far. Callan?
Mike, good morning. Yes, we are learning more about those 2 inmates who escaped from the Lerdo detention facility around 1:45 this morning. Now, their names are David Palms and Tyrone Johnson, and they were arrested back in 2017. They're both accused for the murder of 3-year-old Major Sutton and also injuring his pregnant mother and brother. They have not gone to trial yet, but were both in court back in March. Now, we do have a description of both these inmates who again escaped earlier this morning. Palms is described as a black man with brown eyes, 5'6", weighing 160 pounds. Johnson is described as a black man with brown eyes, 5'7", also weighing 160 pounds. Now, the Kern County Sheriff's Office says both of these men are considered armed and dangerous, and if you do see them, do not approach them, but instead call 911. Visitation and guest services will be shut down until further notice here at the jail, and we will continue to update you as we learn more about the search for those 2 escaped inmates. We also have information on our website, turn23.com.
That is really scary whenever there's escaped inmates, because you really don't know what they're willing to do to keep their freedom. There's one situation where the guy didn't escape. He actually was released accidentally. So he had several charges, and then one of them got dismissed, and I guess somebody didn't do their research and they went ahead and released him, but he was supposed to stay in jail for the bigger charges, which I think included murder. So yeah, I'll always include clips like that because you never know who we should be on the lookout for. The next video we're going to look at is called Man Arrested for Shooting 5-Year-Old Daughter in the Neck in Franklin County, and that's going to be courtesy of WJTV 12 News.
In other news, out of Franklin County, the Sheriff's Department is investigating after a 5-year-old girl was shot in the neck. The child's father, Samuel Scott Jr., is charged with aggravated assault and felony child abuse. That shooting happened Sunday night. We are told the little girl is currently at UMMC. Scott's bond hearing was held this afternoon, and at this time, we don't know what led up to that shooting.
That is sad. I'm really glad she's okay so far. I mean, she's not okay, but usually when we report these stories, the child has passed away, and it looks like she's getting treatment, and I hope that she makes it. And if anything happens with him, I'll hopefully be able to update you on that. So the next clip is going to be about Ghislaine Maxwell. Her alleged trial is moving forward in some ways. Let's watch this clip. It's called Ghislaine Maxwell Denied Bail Again, and it's going to be courtesy of Fox 59 News. 1 second.
Trafficker Ghislaine Maxwell has been denied bail for a 4th time. The decision came after Maxwell complained she is subjected to wellness checks during the night, preventing her from sleeping. Her lawyer argued the conditions make it impossible for her to prepare for her trial, which right now is set for July. Maxwell has been in a Brooklyn prison now for 9 months. She faces charges related to sex trafficking of minors and grooming young girls for Jeffrey Epstein to abuse.
Exactly. And no sympathy for me because she can't get her beauty sleep while she prepares for trial. In fact, what does she really have to do to prepare for trial? Don't the lawyers basically take care of everything and then they're going to tell her what to say pretty much? Okay, so this next clip is an update on a case that I'm not too sure if we've covered it. Let me try to find out when it happened. It's a really crazy situation, and you probably have heard of it. A lot of podcasters picked it up. They usually call it the Delphi murders. It's about 2 little girls that were going for a walk, and I'm trying to find out some information here. I'll try Wikipedia. And they were filming on their phones, and they got a glimpse of a man that was also, I guess it was like a train track, and it was a little bit out in the wilderness. It was in nature, maybe not wilderness, but out in nature. And they caught a glimpse of this man, and they turned up missing and I think murdered. And that man in the clip that they found on their phone was always a suspect. So I'm trying to get a date here. It says February 14 on Valentine's Day of 2017, the bodies of Abigail Williams and Liberty German were discovered.
But they caution this is very early in the process. We told you last week about James Chadwell. He was arrested in Lafayette after prosecutors say he kidnapped a 9-year-old girl, sexually assaulted her, and threatened to kill her. The Carroll County Sheriff telling us that case caught their eye and they are, quote, looking into him. Investigators are not sharing many details about the investigation. They know any sign of progress on this case is big news. Libby's sister, Kelsey German, tweeted, reminding the public there have been thousands of tips just like this one in this case, and she cautions against getting too invested in a potential suspect without more proof. If you have any information that could help find this killer, you're asked to call the toll-free number 844-459-5786.
Okay, so that was an update on the Delphi murders. Let's continue. This is about 20,000 people displaced as La Soufriere still erupts. And it's going to be about a volcano, and these are clips that I found that are from earlier today, and this is going to be courtesy of Inside Edition. Let's take a look. Hopefully there isn't an ad. It looks like there might be. 1 second, please. Oh yeah, it's the Geico lizard. Let him do his thing. So I hope everyone's having a good day out there. We got 3 people in the room. Hey. One day we'll have more people here. I hope. Alright. Pause. Let's go back. Let's take the mute off and play.
Hello folks, there we go again.
St. Vincent's La Soufriere volcano is still at it.
Yes, it's rumbling and it's wide and it's powerful again. So it's pushing stuff into the air.
The United Nations says more than 20,000 people who live near the now active volcano have been displaced.
Behind the white clouds, there's quite a bit of ash.
Researchers have said it could keep spewing ash for weeks or even months. In some places on St. Vincent, ash is piled more than a foot high. These stunning satellite images show what the main island looked like before and after the eruption. La Soufriere had been dormant since 1979 before it began erupting again on April 9th. Fortunately, there still have been no reported deaths as a result. UN officials who surveyed the damage called the area apocalyptic. Prime Minister Ralph Gonsalves estimates the damage caused to homes, crops, water, and infrastructure will cost millions to clean up.
So far, fellow Caribbean nations, including Dominica and Trinidad and Tobago, have sent money and supplies to support St. Vincentians. The UN has already pledged $1 million in aid and are appealing for $29.2 million for the next 6 months. For Inside Edition Digital.
Well, that's happening in our world. I like to cover world events and nature news and things like that. Yes, that is terrifying. And I was trying to find like a clip or something about the Ring of Fire, but unfortunately the news doesn't educate or cover that kind of thing, so everything I found was other YouTube channels. By the way, I have a little bit of a channel update. So I went ahead and opened up a OnlyFans account. I heard that they're way less strict when it comes to like copyright. They respect freedom of speech more over there, and I'm guessing that might be a good place to take advantage of fair use, because YouTube, you know, sides with the corporations obviously rather than the small channels and stuff like that. And apparently I need to have 5 posts on there and at least 5 active subscribers in order to enable the live feature, so I could start figuring that out. So I didn't come prepared with the link, and next time I will, so I'll start dropping that in the chat, or I'll try to help you find a way like to find my page, and who knows, maybe we could start talking about other stuff that, you know, YouTube doesn't let us. Yeah, I know, OnlyFans. Don't even think that it's gonna be like inappropriate. I just want to use it so that I could, like, I don't know, just not have to worry about copyright so much over here. Like over here, I know it's crazy. Don't even think like that. If I know that there's inappropriate content on there, I haven't seen it because I haven't looked for it. As soon as you jump on there, the recommended channels are all pretty PG, you know. They're like, I think I saw like a cooking channel and like some other guy that does like acrobatics or something like that. Like, they don't really promote like the inappropriate like backdoor page type things. And if it works out, well, I mean, I'll stick with it. I mean, no one's gonna tell me that, you know, what I can and can't, you know, do on there if that's gonna be the case. YouTube is strict on copyright, but they let a lot of the smutty shit like pass. It's just pretty crazy. But yeah, so if they're able to respect my, you know, First Amendment rights and let me take advantage of fair use, then I might go ahead and just go over there for some of the copyright risky content that, you know, YouTube likes to strike you for. So let's continue on. I've got about 13 more clips to go. We've been live for about an hour and a half, so I think we're doing good. Let's see, it's called Smell from Jackson Sinkhole Unmistakable. And I like to cover sinkholes because sometimes they get really, really bad. And it's not a conspiracy, but it's just, it's always been along the lines like of, as far as maybe because conspiracy theories sometimes lead back to like apocalyptic ends, you know, like the end is nigh kind of a thing. Sinkholes kind of go with that because it does seem like the end of the world if the world's caving in. I'm just kidding. Oh, that's awesome. I know you were just kidding, but you know what, either way, I need to get practice in explaining myself or wanting to be on OnlyFans, so the more I explain it, I'll get used to it.
Harry and David makes Mother's Day.
And that's gonna be another ad. 1 second.
Choose.
As soon as you turn on the street, the smell hits you. It smells just like raw sewage, and that's because of this massive sinkhole right here.
That's exactly what I'm talking about, Emmanuel. There's a channel on YouTube called 101 The Destroyer, I think. And this, I found it whenever I was real into conspiracy theories. I was finding out more about the entertainment industry and the sacrifice theory and all that stuff. And there was this one channel that made videos. I don't know if Oh God, I hope they didn't take it down. I want to say I have it saved on another playlist or something, but the thing with his videos is that he uses clips from Hollywood movies, from music videos. If I even tried, I mean, I don't know if you were there, but Crown Empress tried showing a YouTube channel that featured you know, movie clips from that movie, Training Day, and look what happened. She got to play maybe just a little bit, and then it like took her down. It didn't take her down, but it cut her live off. So that kind of thing, like that's the kind of thing that I'll probably go and show over there. I'm gonna try to find that channel. I think over here it says 103 Destroyer. No, dude, I really hope they didn't take it down, because that was a really good channel, and it had been up since like 2010 or something like that, and it had a lot of views, and even YouTube themselves took down, because it was a series, and they took down some of them, so the whole thing is not even up. Sucks.
One neighbor tells me it makes it difficult to be outside of their home because of the foul odor, but it's also unsafe. They say multiple cars have gotten stuck inside of it, even a police car. We've seen children riding their bikes in the street, and the people living here say this has got to be fixed before someone gets hurt.
And it's very unsafe, because if you're not familiar, used to coming down the street and don't see that, you will go in that hole.
And that same neighbor tells me this hole has been here for nearly 3 weeks, and they want the city of Jackson to come out and fix it.
Bitch shoot, oh yeah, I've heard of that. Somebody went over there. Who was it? It was, I want to say, the lady that would come out with the QAnon theories. She was going to go to bitch shoot too, but I don't know what happened. QAnon kind of died out when Trump left office. And then I heard it was just some guy too. But yeah, I'll write it down and I'll check it out. Bitch shoot. I want to say it's with the C. Maybe it's with an S. But thank you for that suggestion, Princess Alana. Let's keep finding out about this sinkhole and see if we're anywhere closer to the end of the world.
As soon as possible. In Jackson, Cecil Hannibal, 16, WAPT News.
Well, we reached out to city leaders. They say the hole is a collapsed sewer main, and a public works team is working to get it better secured and fixed as quickly as possible.
Oh, that's disgusting. It's collapsed on a sewer main. It is poo emoji. That's gross. That fucking sucks. I remember, like, I want to say over the winter in New York, I want to say the Bronx, they had a situation at an apartment complex where the toilets were backing up and it was literally on the floor. And I was like, damn, that sucks. Alright, so I don't know if this is the same situation as the one we saw before, but we'll go ahead and play it. It's only a little bit less than 3 minutes. It's called Inmates Who Escaped. Yeah, we saw this one. Laredo Justice Facility had been arrested in 2017 death of 3-year-old Major Sutto. It's a different clip, but it's the same story. It's by KGET News. One second while this ad loads.
Into our newsroom this morning, 2 men accused in a gang-related shooting that left a 3-year-old boy dead back in 2017 have escaped from Laredo jail.
Major Sutton was shot and killed shortly before midnight on November 10th, 2017, when gunmen kicked down the door of his family's home and opened fire. According to Kern County Sheriff's Office, the 2 inmates suspected in his killing have escaped from Laredo jail facility. Information still limited at this time, but 17th Ileana Capian is live this morning at Laredo Jail as she learns more about the men that police are looking for. Ileana?
Maddie, the Kern County Sheriff's Office is searching for 2 escaped inmates. They escaped this morning around 1:45, and at this time, their whereabouts are unknown. Now, I want you guys to take a look at the scene behind me. There's still an active police presence here. Obviously, Kern County Sheriff's Office heading this investigation. On our way up here, we could see the roads lined with CHP and KCSO vehicles. We've also seen the helicopter circling this area. Now, it is known that the men were last seen running southbound. Now, at this time, I want you guys to take a look at pictures of these 2 that have escaped. We're looking at David Reagan Palms, who's 22 years old. He's described as a black male with brown eyes, about 5 foot 6 inches, and 160 pounds. The second escapee is 24-year-old Tyrone D'Angelo Johnson. Johnson is described as a black male with brown eyes, 5 foot 7 and 160 pounds. Now, they were last seen running southbound shirtless in white boxer shorts. It's important to note that both of these men were charged in...
They're in their boxer shorts. What the fuck?
In a homicide, and they are considered armed and dangerous. So if you do spot them, make sure you're not approaching them. They say here that that is the most important thing to be aware of. Again, both men were charged in a homicide, and they are considered armed and dangerous. Now, the Lerdo Justice Facility has shut down visitation and things along those lines until there is further information. So for today, for the time being, visitation rights have been shut down. As we get more information, we'll keep you up to date, but that's all for now. Maddie here at Lerdo Justice Facility, Ileana Capeyan, 17 News. Back to you guys.
Ileana, thanks so much.
And we have...
Oh, this is the case that led to the arrest. Let's continue watching.
Just learned those two men who escaped the Lerdo jail facility were behind bars for the murder of 3-year-old Major Sutton. Tyrone Johnson and David Palms were arrested in February 2018 and charged with murder in the slaying of Major Sutton. Major was shot and killed shortly before midnight.
Where is Kern County? Is that... I'm not even gonna guess. I have no idea where that is.
On November 10th, 2017, when gunmen kicked down the door of his family's home and opened fire. His pregnant mother and then 5-year-old brother were wounded. Similarities to an earlier shooting, anonymous tips and wiretap phone calls helped connect the suspects to the shooting, investigators said in court filings.
That's wild. We'll keep up with that story. And the next one, it looks like it's a cold case that might have an update. It's called Search Resumes for Remains of Oklahoma Girls Who Vanished in 1999. And that's going to be courtesy of KFOR, Oklahoma. Did you hear that? That when I first saw this clip, I thought to myself, what if the two girls are the suspects? Because even he said that it's speculated that they were tortured and then disappeared. How the hell do you escape jail in white boxer shorts and not be immediately rearrested? That's what I was thinking, because I was picturing like two dudes running across the street in their underwear. You know somebody had to have seen that. That's crazy.
Let's lead.
Hey, that's crazy.
Well, terrifying moment.
Rude. Hold on one second. Kern County is in Central California, Bakersfield. Oh, okay. I grew up in Stanislaus County. That's crazy. You would think I would know what Kern County is. That's wild. But, I mean, I've been living here since 2001. I was a kid when I lived in California. Let's see. Yeah, meth and drugs, like the Twilight Zone. I know. I remember when, whenever MySpace was a thing, and I had just moved over here, so I was using MySpace. I mean, obviously this just shows how dated I'm talking about. But there was one account from Fresno, and the quote, I would always laugh at it. It said, "There's nothing good about it. If you're not dodging bullets trying to cross the street, you're kicking tweakers off your front porch." And I was like, damn, that's a rough neighborhood. Alright, let's continue. This next clip is called 5-year-old Hospitalized Conscious After Found at the Bottom of the Pool in Hotel in Brighton. And this clip, when I saw it, I immediately thought, like, where are the parents? They don't talk about the parents at all. Just listen. It's courtesy of News 8 WROC.
Moments at a hotel pool in Brighton last night. A 5-year-old boy found at the bottom of that pool at the Country Inn and Suites on East Henrietta Road. Now, the child was pulled from the water by other guests, given CPR, and then rushed to the hospital, where he later regained consciousness. Police say the child may have choked on food while in the pool. That is still being investigated. No charges have been filed.
You see what I mean? Like, no mention. So we're going to keep up with that one, of course, try to find out what's going on. Kern County, Fresno for you. And from what I understand, things have escalated because in the town where I grew up, I cannot recall like tent city situation there, and now I know for a fact that there is, because like I've seen it, I've just like on the news and stuff like that. I haven't been back since I moved away from there, and all that stuff is making me feel like I should probably not go back, just so that I could maybe have the privilege of remembering it the way it was, because I remember really enjoying my time there when it came to like meeting new people, making friends and stuff like that. People are really cool to talk to. Well, I had that kind of luck while I lived there, but now just the way they talk about it just sounds really heartbreaking, and I don't know if I want to see that like for myself. Alright, so we're still watching clips that I found from earlier today, and I had found a copter cam video of a cow that got away from its ranch or whatever, and it was running like on the highway, and I was thinking of maybe showing it, but then it was like 45 minutes long, and then most of it's really uneventful. I want to say like the first 5 minutes of it was, you know, them chasing the cow, and that was kind of funny. But then eventually it just slowed down where they had corralled it, and then they tranquilized it, and then that took some time to kick in, and then it like fell asleep and stuff like that. So I was like, I don't think I could like fill the void, and there's only so many cow jokes like you could tell, right? Or have comments about a cow. So I found this clip. It's less than 3 minutes long, so I'm going to show that instead, because at least it has some commentary, and it also shows like where the cow came from and stuff like that. So I thought it was interesting to watch. It's called Authorities Wrangle Escaped Cow Near I-10 East Freeway and Beltway 8, and this is in Houston, and it's courtesy of KPRC 2 Click to Houston.
Hershey.
That's an ad. 1 second.
For bumps along the way. This is one story that a lot of people in our newsroom were watching unfold. Many of you did the same through our live stream on click2houston.com. Got to get the words out this morning.
A lot going on today,
I know.
Andy.
Good morning. I'm Andy Sirota.
And I'm Lisa Hernandez. Thanks for being with us. KPRC 2 crews were first on scene as police managed to get that cow onto that trailer. KPRC 2's Brandon Walker joining us live from East Harris County. And Brandon, you were there as that cow was returned to its owner. What a morning here.
Yeah, exclusive interview, in fact, Lisa. You know, you can't make this stuff up. You had people on the freeway with the cow there. I want to say, though, that neither people nor cow hurt this morning during Bluebell's apparent getaway. And in fact, a bit of a turn of events, you had people saying, "Move!" Got a cow on the run on the freeway.
That was bad.
Beware of the bovine barreling briskly by the Beltway, blocking traffic this morning on the East Freeway, leaving drivers to scream, "Holy cow!" This morning, the strut along the shoulder caught on TransStar 2. Utterly outrageous as Harris County Sheriff's deputies corralled the cow.
I think she was scared.
While its owners watched from a road at San Jacinto Cemetery. So, how do you say it? How now, brown cow?
And I checked everything, and she broke something that was a little...
It's a bunch of cow puns. Just wait. I didn't count them all, but there's a few.
Apparently not big enough, concedes Stephanie Ramirez, here with Dad Octavio, as sheriff's deputies and Precinct 3 deputy constables subdued the cow, so not as to have one. Ramirez says she got the cow yesterday. About bullheaded
They just got the cow and it was already trying to escape. This one's a rebel.
Plans it had awoke to a neighbor's call warning, "Hey, your cow is on the run."
I wake up and just like trying to find her.
She's been found. Thanks to the men and women in blue, no one was hurt. That includes the getaway girl, who has a tale to tell about how the cow came home.
Yeah, so you'll see that last shot there. Not the only cow at that house. That cow's a pet, one of 9 pets. Stephanie says she loves cows, and she didn't want anything to happen to that one, so she's happy that the cow is home. I guess, you know, why'd the cow get to the other side? We could ask the chicken. I'm digging a hole for myself. We're not going to finish it. We're out of here. The cow's safe. Everybody's safe. We're safe. Live on the east side, East Harris County. Brandon Walker, KPRC 2 News.
Oh, Brandon Walker telling this story like no other journalist can.
That's right.
He used every single pun. I don't know, did he say that the cows came home? I don't know if I heard that one. My dog's getting ready to bark. Let me go ahead and show this next clip. Like, go see what's up with her.
Good afternoon, everybody. Christine Barconi here in the NBC4i Streaming Center. We have an update to a story that have gotten millions of views, the video as well as the article on our website, NBC4i.com. This is Casey Williams. He's a former Pickaway County Corrections deputy, and he has been indicted on felony charges of impersonating an officer as well as improper handling of a firearm. Casey Williams, he's 26 years old, of Asheville. Well, he has been indicted by the Franklin County Grand Jury. He has not yet entered a plea. We also got a hold of his personnel file, and right now, before I explain a little bit more about what was in that personnel file, I'm going to play you part of the video of the arrest as well as his interactions with Whitehall police on the day he was arrested.
I can't get a hold of the chief from Richland Township, which is Glenmont.
Okay, so that was actually pretty good timing. I saw this video on like whatever those channels are that have body cam videos, the ones that Crown Empress shows sometimes. I want to say like Real World Police and like Cop Watch or something like that. And when I saw it, it was an hour and 15 minutes long, I think. So I was like, okay, that's a good sign. You know, it's a long video. And then another thing was that it had like 150,000 views. So I really thought it was gonna be something interesting, and it was gonna like be eventful. Maybe the guy was resisting, maybe he was talking shit, like something. Really wasn't. It was just a dude that was out there in an unmarked car looking like the cops. When you see here, let me expand that, but it says police on his vest here. He has a taser, and I'm not even too sure at this point what led to the cops getting their attention to him. Maybe they're driving by. I'm not too sure if they were called, but once they started talking to him, they realized that I think what the situation was is that he was deceiving a security company into letting them believe that he was a police officer when he had actually been fired. So then he got that job through them by being deceiving or deceitful, and then once he started working, he was discovered to be not even a real cop, and then that's why they have him as impersonating a police officer. So I had to go take care of my dog, so I wasn't able to tell you what the headline was called, but it's man accused of impersonating police officer in Whitehall indicted on felony charges. And this is going to be courtesy of NBC4 Columbus, so let's keep watching. So at this point, they've apprehended him, and they're going to ask him questions as far as who is he and why is he there.
It's Richland Township.
Yeah.
So it's a township police department,
No,
or
the
is
village,
it village?
Village in Richland Township.
Okay.
Say village in Richland.
But you have no ID from them,
No,
all right?
no.
And have you ever been sworn in by them?
I've talked to the chief.
No.
So
I'm asking you a direct question. Have you been sworn in by
It's
them?
very important you answer this correctly, because being a former police officer or someday a current police officer, you know if you lie in this situation, you go directly to jail.
No, I'm not.
So I'm going to put that right
listen,
out.
I'm not.
So
trying-
if
I'm
you
not,
are telling me you are a police officer right now, is that what you're telling me? So you are not a commissioned police officer.
I have spoke with the chief.
That's not what I'm asking you.
Okay.
I'm asking you one question. Are you a commissioned police officer through the state of Ohio?
I have an OPADA certificate.
That's not what I'm asking you.
I'm explaining to you. I have
No, you're not. You're not answering the question. You're avoiding the question. It's very simple. Are you a sworn police officer anywhere in the state of Ohio with any department?
Not currently.
Okay. That's the question.
I'm unsure. I'm unsure.
You can't be unsure.
You can't be unsure.
You would have to raise your hand, swear, sign a form, and you would get paperwork on that.
Hello.
Talking to the chief is not enough.
Yeah, the chief of police is there. So
he's not commissioned with paperwork. So that he's not going to get back.
Oh, that's crazy.
1 second. Would you be willing to speak to the supervisor from the company?
From
Watchman.
From Watchman?
Yeah.
Is he an actual police officer?
You are an actual police officer, correct? Okay. Yeah, he is. Where are you commissioned at?
It doesn't matter. He's not here doing anything.
Yeah.
I don't care if he's the superintendent of the state highway patrol. That's irrelevant to the situation. So you can talk to him if you want, Rex, but I got to go.
Yeah.
I live in an area that doesn't make any money, and I
found a good paying job, and I was told by the guys, like, hey, we'll take care of ignition, we'll get it taken care of, it's no big deal. I come out here, I told, hey, you can start, make some money. That's all I was trying to do. Please do not, I'm asking you for courtesy, man to man, please do not ruin my career, please, please, please. I think you
Don't ruin my fake career.
did that kind of on your own, Casey. Please. All right.
Please.
The Pickaway County, you knew you didn't work for Pickaway County. You displayed that badge. All right. You're out here acting in a law enforcement capacity, displaying a badge that you have no right to have, or a facsimile of a badge. That's not even a real badge. You were aware of that.
Yeah,
okay.
It's not real.
Okay. So, all right, you're going to be charged.
Oh, seriously?
I'm serious, okay? Now, we're going to be nice about this, okay?
No.
And we're going to take you over, and you can take your gun belt off, and you can set it on the hood of that car, okay? And we're going to take you in. We don't have to handcuff you. This officer James is going to pat you down, all right? And we'll let you out, all right, on a summons, all right? Now,
they asked him, they were like, okay, so are you a cop? Yes or no? And he's like, well, let me explain. What really happened was...
for me to...
where, okay?
Completely disgusting.
Here's the problem. You don't understand that right now we can charge you for improperly handling in a vehicle. I can charge you for impersonating a police officer. All right, there's tons of charges. There. Well, probably the impersonation of a police officer.
So the
all right.
best thing to do right now is to just take off the belt.
All right, so let's step over here and take care of that first.
Right here. Right here.
All right.
Take off the belt. Down on the floor.
You don't have anything else on you, do you?
No.
All right. Don't reach in. All right. You should know the drill.
That's wild.
Can I call my supervisor?
We will get a chance. I'm going to call the owner of the company, you mean? The guy I spoke with. I'm going to talk to him. He gave me his number, said
that froze for
You can watch that full 8-minute video on NBC4i.com. His interaction with police was actually more than an hour long, and we have that video posted as well. Now, more on Williams' personnel file that we obtained from the Pickaway County Sheriff's Office. It shows that he was a corrections deputy at the jail, but resigned his full-time position in September of last year following an incident at the Pickaway County Fair. On June 22nd of 2020, Williams allegedly portrayed himself as an on-duty Pickaway County Sheriff's deputy at the fair, even though he was not scheduled to work at the time. Williams was allegedly carrying around a badge and monitoring the campgrounds for alcohol. Again, we're going to continue to follow this story. We've got all the full videos posted, as well as this 8-minute version of it on NBC4i.com.
We saw pretty much what we needed to see. That literally was the most eventful part of that video. It was just crazy to me that so many people sat there for an hour and 15 minutes. It was 150,000 views when I first saw it. I bet you it's way more than that. Alright, let's see. We've got 7 more clips to go. The next one is going to be a serious and emotional information video, and it's called Cherryville Mother Charged in Death of 3-year-old Daughter, and that's going to be courtesy of Fox 46 Charlotte.
Cherryville mom now facing involuntary manslaughter charges for killing her child. Cherryville police say Jenna Melton is charged in the death of her 3-year-old daughter. Police say the little girl died January 5th, but did not say how she died. Melton was booked in the Gaston County Jail just before 9 last night. She has a court appearance at 2 this afternoon.
Okay, if I find it, if I find a clip or anything like that, I will post it, or I'll put it in a playlist and show it. Okay, so this next video I saw was interesting. It's not emotional. Let me go ahead and take that down. Maybe I will do this one. Yeah. Okay, so they put a tracker on a wolf and a camera to see its activities, and I thought it was kind of cute, so I wanted to show it. It's called A View from a Wolf, and it's going to be courtesy of CNN 10.
Google Career Certificates provide.
That's going to be an ad. One moment. It's a little bit of an ad. Sorry, guys. It's long, too. It's 15 seconds. It's crazy.
We know wolves don't sit around howling all day.
Sorry.
But what do wolves do besides fend off black bears to protect their cubs? Now, thanks to the wolf collar cam, we get a wolf's eye view. Researchers at Voyageurs National Park in Minnesota fastened a collar cam on a lone wolf they'd trapped and sedated. And off he went.
The big highlight for us was watching the wolf catch fish.
Wolves have been caught on camera fishing, but watching one fish, from his perspective, catching several spawning suckers was a thrill for researchers. The Voyageurs Wolf Project tracked this young male for 6 weeks, watching crows up in the sky. The camera collar was made by a German company that even makes them extra, extra, extra large for elephants. The wolf cam was programmed to fall off, detach on a specific date, and GPS enabled researchers to retrieve it. What's Tom Gable's favorite oddball tidbit about the secret lives of wolves?
Wolves in our area eat a lot of blueberries.
Not only do they eat them, they sometimes regurgitate them for their cubs to eat. Talk about recycling. The wolf cam collar captured a lot of sleeping. Things were constantly hairy, whether dry or dripping wet.
The lens was covered in hair.
As one viewer noted, I feel so close to this wolf. I like sushi, I run in the woods, and my beard needs a trim, which is what the researchers plan to do the next time they use a wolf collar cam.
Yeah, so what we'll probably do is trim back that hair.
Keep your paws off my coat. A haircut's enough to make a lone wolf howl.
That was gorgeous.
I've been meaning to ask you.
No,
What makes you...
Hold on. All right, let's continue on. We have 5 more clips to go. The next one is Fact or Fiction. Man arrested for throwing coins into plane's engine, and that's going to be courtesy of ABC 10 News.
Tonight's Fact or Fiction is brought to you by America's Finest Carpet.
In tonight's Fact or Fiction, we're looking into a story that seems hard to believe. It claims that an airline was forced to cancel a flight after a man threw coins into the plane's engine for good luck. And this is true. The passenger decided to throw 6 coins wrapped in red paper into the engine of a flight on China's Baibu Gulf Airlines.
Why would you do that? The coins is one thing, but then the red paper, like, what was the logic there?
In a statement, the airline said that the staff caught on after finding coins on the ground during pre-takeoff inspection. The crew recovered all the coins but canceled the flight for safety reasons, forcing all 148 passengers to wait an extra day to fly. The coin thrower was detained by police. If you would like to submit a question to us,
you know they were pissed. I've seen people get super pissed that they can't make their flight. There's a show, I forgot what it's called, but they basically like film those situations like at airports. Maybe it had more to do with like inspecting the luggage or whatever, but every once in a while they would show somebody like getting pissed. Alright, so let's continue on. This is the one that we saw earlier, so I was trying to erase that one. Okay, next is maskless man coughs on customer at 7-Eleven in Miami Beach. And that was from earlier today and courtesy of WSVN-TV.
A COVID confrontation inside a Miami Beach convenience store here when a customer walks in without a mask and employees ask him to put one on. Then things took a violent turn.
And at 7's Robin Simmons shows us another customer caught the face mask face off on camera.
One of the reasons I wanted to bring this to the news was really to educate people that, like, this type of behavior, you know, it's kind of crazy and it's dangerous.
Hey! The crazy and dangerous encounter this Miami Beach man is talking about happened Tuesday afternoon at a 7-Eleven where he'd stopped to buy some candy. Employees telling this maskless man if he didn't put one on, he'd need to leave or they would call police. That, according to our anonymous interview, set the stranger off. The candy-buying customer decided to grab some video on his cell phone.
You still don't have your mask
still
on.
recording me. You want me to quote for you? Because that's the next thing.
What's that?
Since I got COVID, right?
No.
Since I got COVID, right?
Oh, no.
Then things got physical. The man's female companion, also maskless, claimed masks weren't required, despite several signs on the front door.
You're saying
And
this
let
is
individuals
not private
know
property?
that they can't. You need to stay here and let individuals know that they can't come in unless it's that. Unless it's that. Hey! Come on, let's go.
That is assault now.
The man punched his arm, causing him to drop his phone. This Miami Beach resident can't believe the latest wild video with someone refusing to wear a mask happened right in front of him.
I am now this viral video, you know, just because I went to the store to get some candy. I mean, that's how crazy people are. And, you know, again, there's no need for any of this.
Miami Beach police arrived after the man drove off in a red Buick Enclave with Massachusetts tags. Now the guy who looked like he was ready for a day on the beach is wanted by Miami Beach police.
I mean,
it's not worth it. Just put the stupid mask on. That's pretty crazy. I'm not a fan of it. I personally, when I do my shopping, I wear glasses, so I have to like wait for, you know, the fog to stop. It sounds so nerdy, but it's true. So I'm not a fan, but I would rather put one on than go through all this. And then, like our good friend Lucille says, that's coronavirus. And the fact is, there is such places that have like not laws, but you know how they say ordinances and policies and whatnot, stating that you can't. It's called like not corona neglect. It's not coronavirus. I don't know. If I find out, I'll let you know. But it's something.
I mean, it seems pretty simple. If a business says you need to wear a mask and you don't want to wear a mask, don't go in. You just hit me.
And by the time police arrived here to the 7-Eleven, that man had already gone. He is facing a...
I remember, it's corona assault.
Simple battery charge. Reporting on Miami Beach, Robin Simmons, Today in Florida.
Let me see, let me just make sure. But I'm pretty sure that's what it's called. It's called like corona or COVID assault, or maybe like, it's not negligence, that's something else. Yeah, I'll look into that. But I know there's places where you definitely can't do that shit. Alright, so we got 2 more videos to go and then we'll call it a day. The next one is called Man Busted at JFK with 35 live finches, those are birds, stuffed inside hair curlers. And this is going to be courtesy of New York Post.
We've never been so ready to get back out there.
And it's really sad to see how he had these birds. I went ahead and saw this clip earlier. Alright, so it says, a man was caught trying to smuggle 35 live finches through JFK Airport. So here we have probably like the inside of a jacket, and then in here you see hair curlers. Well, inside these tiny little tubes are birds. Just watch. Do you see that? He's like, and then there's a net right here, I guess, keeping it in. And it's just like really tight in there. It says, stuffed in hair curlers hidden under his clothes. Says Kevin Andre McKenzie, who flew into New York City from Georgetown, Guyana, allegedly told authorities he was offered $3,000 to traffic the birds into the country. And you see here they're around his ankles too. Those are all birds stuffed in those hair rollers. It says he faces up to 20 years in prison after being charged with the illegal importation of wildlife. Sorry. Says finches are often used in high-stakes singing contests, especially popular in Brooklyn and Queens. I wonder how that is. let's look that up real quick. How are finches used in singing contests? That's pretty weird. Oh, I guess they compete with each other. I thought they were being used as like a tool in a way, like pitch or something. But it says in a contest, a row of small cages, each housing a single male finch, is lined up approximately 6 feet apart along a street. The proximity of the cages increases the number of calls as the birds sing for mates and to establish territory. A timekeeper begins and ends the contest with a red flag. I had never heard of that. Says in which the bird determined to have the best voice can sell for more than $10,000. They shouldn't have that. Okay, and that's going to be that clip. So we have one more to go, and this is going to be a missing person. So let's go ahead and bring that up. And it's going to be search continues for Irving wife and mother LaShun Massey, who went missing Tuesday, and that's going to be courtesy of CBS DFW. I don't know where that K came from. And that's an ad. 1 second, please.
A minute. An Irving husband is searching for answers about his wife, who's now been missing for more than 24 hours. Nicole is live in that neighborhood where the woman vanished. So, Nicole, what is the husband saying?
Well, Karen, I can tell you LaShawn Massey's husband has placed a chair out here in front of the lake. He's been sitting in it from time to time. You see him there now pacing back and forth. He is waiting and hoping for crews to resume the search here on Lake Lago de Claire for his missing wife. He tells me Texas Parks and Wildlife dragged the 90-foot lake 4 times yesterday and found nothing. We tracked down Irving police doing a ground search at La Bahita apartment complex this morning. Massey's husband says his wife's cell phone pinged near the water's edge on the apartment side of the lake. He says that's also where a K9 tracked her scent and then lost it. The missing wife and mother of 2 elementary-age boys was preparing for the Mrs. Texas pageant scheduled for this weekend, and her husband says a morning walk was part of her routine. She knew the area and she was comfortable here. We're told she left for that walk between 5:30 and 7 a.m. yesterday, but never returned. Her husband reported her missing at 7:30. He eventually learned of 911 calls to police, people reporting a woman walking in and around the lake.
They had asked her if she was okay, and she said she was, so they carried about their business. After that, they said they saw her exit the water, and then we later received a tip that someone else had seen her in the water again a couple hours later.
That's weird.
And Massey's husband says he has a hard time believing that account because he tells me his wife was very cautious and was terrified of the water. If you see Massey or you have any information on her whereabouts, you're urged to contact Irving Police at their non-emergency number at 972-253-1010.
Well, that's alarming. That's really sad. I hope she gets found. She's a really beautiful looking lady. If I find any updates, of course, I will let you know. I hope she's okay, though. I hope they find her. So, I wanted to real quick let you guys know that I'm working on a outro type of thing. I don't know if some of you were here when I started the live. I introduced kind of like a starting soon, you know, a GIF with like some music in the background. Working on another one that's like a be right back soon type of thing if I ever have to like stop the live and, you know, take care of my dogs or whatever happens, what have you. So yeah, I'm working on that, and I might come back later tonight if I can to show that documentary that I was telling you about, the ABC 2020 episode called The Devil's Triangle. I don't know too much about it. It looked interesting to me. Maybe I'll watch a little bit of it first and decide if I want to like present it to you all. They're usually really good though. But yeah, thank you so much everybody for stopping by and keeping me company and allowing me to entertain you for a couple hours. I'll try to come back tonight, like I said, or if not, tomorrow. Thank you, Emmanuel Briggs, observing stuff. Let's see, I know Danielle was here. Princess Alana, thank you so much. Danielle Williams, anyways. Let's see, Black and Bougie, thank you so much for being here. Hope I didn't miss anybody. I didn't do it on purpose. There's Danielle. Preach was here earlier. Thank you. Yeah, so I will see you all soon. Thank you so much, everyone. Yeah, enjoy the rest of your day.